welcome back to Cryptids and Cold Ones. I'm John.
And I'm Evan.
I'm Kyle.
And today is going to be the first of many parts where we discuss some paranormal stuff that's attached to Sassy Sasquatch.
Sam Squanch.
It's a goddamn Sam Squatch.
I think we should call it
He's a gassy whore.
the Supernatural Bigfoot Trilogy.
Ooh.
I like it.
Yeah.
Do you guys like that?
Yeah. Part 1.
Part 1.
It's like my scout leader said, just let it happen.
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping.
Want to be fluffy up here now?
Linktree in the show notes as always. We are still looking for your guys' stories, your experiences. You can email us at cryptidsandcoldones@gmail.com. You could get a hold of us on Instagram or even comment on Facebook. We have a number you can call, which is, if I knew I should have it pulled up ahead of 989-402-4091.
I feel like we should memorize that number because none of us remember it ever.
Right.
We need a whiteboard in here.
We really do. I thought about that the other day.
Maybe I'll get
We're supposed to have a whiteboard marking how many episodes it's been since Evan sang.
Oh, yeah. We don't even need that anymore. It's every episode.
It's necessary.
Yeah.
It is.
You people need to call it FN.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of spam calls lately. I get excited because it says I have a missed call on it, and then I go look and it's just spam.
Oh.
What do you mean, you people? Listeners.
So, yeah, call it. Text it. Send random memes.
We like memes.
We love memes. If you have cryptozoology-themed memes, send them our way.
We don't. They don't even need to be that.
You had an idea, too, for how people could reach out, and I don't remember what it was.
Messenger pigeon.
No, we talked about it
That's what I was
yesterday.
thinking.
I had an idea.
You had an idea.
I don't recall though.
Great.
I'm sorry. I forget things.
It's okay. I forgive you.
It's
Did you guys?
ADHD.
Did you guys like how I changed up the Stone Cold sound?
Oh,
last
yeah.
episode?
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
I did. I was a fan.
I thought maybe.
I'll
It'd
drink
be,
a beer.
I thought maybe it'd be a good to keep it fresh.
I think so.
Yeah.
I hope the listeners recognized it and appreciated it.
I
as
hope they
much
did
as we
too. But speaking of fresh things,
Oh,
let's
boy.
open up this can of rich, nutty, smooth
It's
brew.
1, 2, 3.
Holy shit.
Oh my goodness!
That's under some pressure.
That was a good one. That sound.
I drank a beer. I drank another beer. 3 beers. 4 beers.
Oh no.
5 beers.
Oh
6 beers. 7 beers. 8 beers. 9 beers.
Did you shake these before? They all blew up.
no. I did not shake them.
Like I have beer on my microphone.
Oh, just as I remember it.
That is rich, nutty, and smooth.
Well, gentlemen, this beer is something that harkens back to my days in Scotland. It's from Belhaven Brewery, and it's a Scottish ale. And as you noted, it's rich, nutty, and smooth. So, fun fact, when I was in Scotland and I was at the pub, I see this beer called Belhaven's Best. And I say to myself, I wonder if that's like Milwaukee's Best. I'm going to order a pint. And it was so superior in every way. So, what do you gentlemen think?
I like it. It's a very typical brown ale.
But it's better because it's from the homeland.
Your homeland.
Don't make me start singing Scotland the Brave.
Not again.
No.
Not again.
I won't.
Please, God, no.
I give it a 3.75.
Whoa.
I give it a 5 out of 5 feet because brave are the hearts that beat beneath the Scottish skies.
Hell yeah, dog.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, dog.
Definite 4.5 for me. It's rich, nutty, and smooth.
Exactly as advertised. The Scots don't lie. They might be a little racist. It's okay.
No, it's not.
I mean,
That's not okay.
Well, I mean, for us, if we go there,
Okay. Oh, you mean we'll get by there?
they'll
We'll be
like
fine?
us a lot. In fact, if you tell them your grandpa fought in World War II, they buy you beer still.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, especially in the little towns.
But he fought in the Pacific.
They don't
Yeah.
need to know that.
They don't care. They're like,
That's just semantics at this point.
yeah, the Scots love Americans. Brits, not so much. That's why I don't like that.
When my cousin was...
Well, not all of them. Some of you are our listeners, and keep listening.
Your cousin?
When he did the memorial ruck for... they start on Omaha Beach, and they go pretty much follow what the airborne did after D-Day.
Mm-hmm.
And he said there was just American flags everywhere. He's like, it looked like he would have thought that it was still going on.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wild. Yeah.
I remember watching. I think I was 20. Yeah, I was 20, and I got high and went and watched Saving Private Ryan a week before I went to basic training.
Oh, great
I was
choice.
like, that was a big mistake because that opening scene.
Yep.
I was like,
They thought it would be funny to have... We had a day right at the end of basic. I think we had like a day left, and they were like, we're going to let you guys watch a movie, and it was fucking Stop Loss. Like, of all the movies to choose to watch, like, this is what's going to happen. The whole country's going to be after you if you
Yeah.
don't show up.
jeez.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
man.
So are we ready to start?
I think so.
Let's get into it.
Tonight we're going to be talking about some stuff that glows. And I'm not talking about the cute girl you met on the internet who hates the government and wants you to teach her how to shoot. Be gone.
Hell.
Thought.
Hell yeah, brother.
I'm talking about Bigfoot sightings in which witnesses claim that Bigfoot had glowing eyes. And then we're going to step even further into the woo and discuss what Wes from Sasquatch Chronicles podcast simply calls the lights. Now, when I say it like that, it kind of reminds me of the part of Escanaba into Moonlight where the aliens show up and the DNR officer strips to his underwear and starts singing Swing Low, Sweet Chariot.
Yeah.
It's not quite that.
Coming for to carry me.
It's the bear. It's the bear walk.
Yeah,
The bear.
the bear walk. Side note, the first person to message us with the name of the actor that played the DNR officer will get a free Cryptids in Cold One shirt with a Bigfoot drinking a beer. I will personally pay for it and mail it to you. Anyway, what I'm really talking about are glowing orbs seen in conjunction with Bigfoot either at the same time or on the same property where there are frequent Bigfoot sightings. And to be honest, until I started listening to the Sasquatch Podcast Chronicle, or Sasquatch Chronicles podcast, I didn't know anything about the lights. But it's pretty frequent on that podcast.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty wild.
There's a lot of things that get discussed on there that I never really knew about beforehand, even though we've spent most of our life.
I think that it's because when you look at it, everything that we were looking at when it came to Bigfoot was very mainstream, and we weren't going in depth farther than what you'd get on like Discovery Channel and like books, essentially.
Well, and a lot of the stuff that we would, like the sightings and stuff that we would read about was on Beefro, and
They're kind of anti-woo.
they doctor
Yeah.
what they put out.
Yeah.
Explain to me. You keep talking woo.
The woo is like the
It's like
whole...
the supernatural stuff that comes along with
Oh,
Bigfoot.
okay. That's
Yeah.
just the whole. Okay.
And I mean, there's like two different camps. There's people that truly believe in supernatural Sasquatch, and then there's the flesh and blood camp. And a lot of people in the flesh and blood camp will disregard a lot of things from the supernatural side. And I don't know if they should, because sometimes there's something to it. I mean, like, I don't believe most people say they've seen something they haven't seen. But a lot of times there's an explanation for it. And if you think of Bigfoot as a flesh and blood being, there's got to be some sort of explanation. So let's talk about those glowing eyes. And I'm talking about like self-illuminating eyes that are often described as red or yellow. I mean, the first thought is that's fairly out there, you know. Here's an example. I found a report from July 6, 2024, and I took this directly from a New York Post article. A group of terrified teenagers called police in a panic after they claimed that they ran into a growling Bigfoot-like creature with glowing eyes, officials say. The recent high school graduates from Houma in southern Louisiana were camping in Kisatchie National Forest, about 100 miles northwest from Baton Rouge, when they reported the chilling encounter last week, according to the Natchitoches Parish Sheriff's Office. I don't even know. Hey, Louisiana
You get an A
listeners.
for effort.
I know, I'm trying. They recalled seeing a large animal that resembled Bigfoot shortly after they set up camp, about 1.5 miles off Backbone Trail in southern Natchitoches Parish, according to police. Around 9:20 p.m. on June 28th, one member of the group, who were all 17 and 18 years old, called 911 after they repeatedly heard a growl and saw what appeared to be an animal that had glowing eyes and stood about 5 foot tall, the sheriff's office said. Deputies responded to the scene and walked to the campsite, vigilant for any mythological creatures. They followed the sound of whistles to the campsite and found the teens frightened but unharmed. They were safely escorted out of the forest by the deputies. Despite a thorough investigation, deputies were unable to locate any suspicious activity involving a growl with glowing eyes and standing 5 foot tall, the sheriff's office said. They congratulated the teens on their graduation and wished them good luck in their future. So let's unpack this a bit.
5 foot tall.
Mm-hmm.
Not very typical.
No, but I wanted to know...
Could be an adolescent.
I actually wanted to note this is a great example from what I described about common themes of reports on southern Bigfoot in our primer episode.
Oh, yeah.
It's smaller and more aggressive.
That's true.
The thing growled, and it was shorter than what people say.
True.
So, the eyes were reportedly glowing, i.e. self-illuminated. It was 9:30 in July, so it wasn't likely fully dark. But chances are you'd probably be using a flashlight at distance. If that's the case, perhaps the eyes weren't glowing, but instead reflecting. So, there's a lot that can be said about eyeshine. Everybody who's ever been in the woods at night and seen a creature knows that certain animals have eyeshine, right? I think we've all went shining for deer. Not shooting them, DNR, just looking at them. Just to be clear.
Yeah, I like to shine them and then get out of the trap,
Mm-hmm.
and then walk them down.
Yeah.
And then shoot. That's not illegal then.
Oh, okay.
I think. I don't know.
I think it is.
Yeah, it is.
At night.
JK FBI.
Yeah.
They don't care.
So.
I wonder how our FBI agent's doing these days.
Yeah.
What was his name again?
Oh,
Stan?
Kevin.
Kevin.
Hey, Kevin, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kevin, our FBI agent.
Kevin's watching amputee porn right now.
He probably is typing up notes from our conversation on the way over. That one was wild.
Yeah, that's an offline topic.
That is an offline topic for sure. So, anyway, we got the air quality issues right now because of the forest fire wherever it is.
Right.
And I feel like I'm Zelensky over here. I just keep on, you know.
I thought it was the cocaine.
No, that's
Cocaine.
Cocaine. So, anyway, Per Cliff Barrickman, one of the cast members from Finding Bigfoot and co-host of Bigfoot and Beyond, and he also writes for his website, cliffbarrickman.com. Also, I want to preempt this quote that I'm about to give by explaining that Cliff is a flesh and blood guy like me, and he believes in Bigfoot, but he believes it's a biological creature. John.
That mic picks it up good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. New mics, same old burps.
Yeah. But he believes Bigfoot's a biological creature and focuses on rational and scientifically sound theories about the creature. He's also a foot guy, so send him your castles. No, he's real into Bigfoot feet. I've listened to his podcast, and he talks so much about Bigfoot tracks and castings, and he's got it in with Jeff Meldrum. And if he thinks it's a real track, he typically will send it to Jeff. So you could get a track, cast it, send it to him, and it could get to Dr. Jeff Meldrum if it's real.
I was listening to this stand-up comedian,
Mm-hmm.
and he says, recently I just learned that big feet means big dick. So why do we call it Bigfoot and not girthy cock monster?
That's a good one.
Sorry, John's dad.
Sorry, John's dad.
You know what we should do is take my big buniony feet and cast them and send them in. See what he says.
So
Go.
here's the quote. Over the years, hundreds of Bigfoot eyewitnesses have reported seeing what is described as glowing eyes. The eyes most often glow with a red color, but not always. Sometimes they're green, amber, blue, and even a scintillating mishmash of colors have also been reported.
Scintillating.
I am using his
Great
words,
word.
not mine. Some have suggested that Bigfoots actually create this light with their own eyes with some sort of bioluminescence in order to identify or communicate with others of their own species. I disagree with this hypothesis for a variety of reasons. While it is well known that many organisms create light with their own biochemistry, none of these species are mammals, let alone primates. The vast majority of bioluminescent creatures are invertebrates, but there are a few fish with the ability. There should also be some mammals that can do the same thing. So when he mentions that, he's basically explaining that these creatures exist, right? And they have bioluminescence, but there's no other mammals that have it. So if that's not the case anywhere else in nature, why would Bigfoot also have this? And he also mentions that rats do have what's called spontaneous invisible light-induced ultra-weak photon emission from their eyes that is seemingly emitted after charging from higher energy photons. But aside from that, no.
It's a good thing we chose to record this episode first tonight.
Yeah.
That was a lot of big words.
Yeah. So, he's saying the eyes aren't glowing. For all you guys there that were like, what the fuck he's saying.
Break it down Barney style for us.
Basically, he's saying that the eyes aren't glowing because no other mammals do that. And from a scientific perspective, it doesn't make sense in the Bigfoot world either. So,
should have just said that the first time.
I probably could have done that. So, Cliff goes on to explain that Sasquatch eyes are very large, which makes sense considering the overall size of the creature. Cliff then states that the human eyes are about 1 inch in diameter, and that proportionally, Bigfoot eyes should be about 1.5 inches in diameter. So, science break. And also, beverage break. 1 second. So, I just want everybody to understand how the eye works in order to better understand what I'm next about to speak with. So light enters the eye through the pupil.
He warned me that he went very deep into the science on this one.
I did. So light enters the eye through the pupil, or the dark circle in the center of the eye, for all you people that just don't know. The colored part surrounding it is known as the iris, and it's actually a pair of muscles that expand and contract the pupil to control the amount of light that enters the eye.
It's like an anus.
Yeah, the iris is an anus, and it also ends in is or us. The wider opening.
Did you guys know that the skin on your lips is the same skin that your butthole's made out of?
I did not.
So you can put chapstick on it?
Probably.
I'll do that.
So the wider the opening of the pupil,
Appreciate that.
the
Sorry.
more light can be gathered. The light is then focused on the retina at the back of the eye, which absorbs the light and sends the information to the brain through the optic nerve. So now that we got that out of the way.
Thank God.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
Cliff states that most witnesses that encounter Sasquatch in close range note that they do not observe sclera, which is the white part of the eye surrounding the iris. Some witnesses have noted that the white sclera have noted seeing white sclera in Sasquatches when Bigfoot glances to one side without turning their head. This is important to note because some apes have dark scleras, making it most likely that witnesses are not confusing dark eyes for dark sclera. Since sclera is not usually seen in Sasquatches, it seems that the entirely visible part of the large eye is taken up by the iris. Since so much of the visible part of the Sasquatch eye is taken up by the muscles that expand and contract the pupillary opening, it seems reasonable.
He almost said poop.
Yeah, I did. It seems reasonable to assume that Sasquatches might have much more efficient light-gathering ability than humans do. This goes a long way towards explaining their excellent night vision. And there might be more factors such as the presence of a tapetum lucidum, which is a thin layer of film that helps many nocturnal animals see better in the night and also creates the eyeshine. Cliff essentially is saying that's probably what people are seeing, and it's actually eyeshine and not a glow. But he further suggests that the red glow people are seeing is no different than the red glow that we see in human eyes when pictures are taken. It's light bouncing off the blood-rich retina. Perhaps Sasquatch eyes are so efficient at capturing light that natural light sources, even in low light, can produce this glow. So, that is kind of where I'm at with the eyeshine. And I know that was a really detailed...
It was a lot to take in.
But I mean, I had to explain it because of autism. Basically. So...
You've heard of mansplaining. Well, here on Cryptids and Cold Ones, we have tism-splaining.
Yeah.
That is exactly what had happened. What had happened was...
See, what had happened was...
Yeah. So, what do you guys think about the glowing eyes?
Did you guys have that in Dogman? Glowing eyes?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that a thing?
Yes.
Yes.
The same type of thing there you were talking about?
We had the one story... well,
That was their first episode.
Yeah.
By the way.
that's all that the one gentleman seen was the eyes.
Yeah, and then he went out with his shotgun or
So he saw it from inside of
He
his
synced it.
camper
He synced it.
or whatever.
trailer.
Trailer.
His trailer. And
So
then-
I'm doubting that any light was shown upon
Yeah.
the eyes.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things where I don't really know if there is any explanation that could really make me understand it.
Well, I just gave you one because of autism.
See, where we differ on it is I'm not fully sold on flesh and blood. I think it's something else, but
I can ship.
You're saying the whole idea of Bigfoot is something else? Like, I mean, not the whole idea, but like...
I don't
You don't think he's just like...
fully buy into the flesh and blood animal.
Gotcha.
North American wood ape.
Yeah, I think there's more to it.
Okay, fair enough. So, I guess let's get a little bit more further into the woo.
Woo!
I'm totally
Rick
putting in
Pink
Ric Flair
Flair.
sounds.
Woo!
So, we're talking about glowing orbs in the woods.
Woo!
There's actually another name for these phenomenon.
Do, 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 do.
Phenomena. Do, 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 do. Phenomena.
It's called Willow the Wisp.
Ah.
It's basically a ghost light that is seen by travelers at night and often associated with ghosts, fairies, or elemental spirits.
You're a fairy.
Oh! I walked right into
you're not.
So, this one's interesting because I genuinely did not find a scientific explanation for this. And I've heard so much about the damn orbs that people see with Bigfoot from Sasquatch Chronicles, where you have, like, people calling in and being like, I seen the lights.
Are these just like...
I synced it.
Are these just orbs in, like, the sky? Like, kind of like a...
No, they're, like,
they're
closer to the ground.
Oh, okay. So
They're like-
It's often contributed to ball lightning.
Well, I was going to say ball lightning sounds like a really aggressive will-o'-the-wisp.
Yeah.
Will-o'-the-wisp sounds like something,
Ooh, wispy. Yeah, wispy. Yeah.
Jeff Hardy has a move that he does called Whisper on the Willow or something like that, where he does like flippy shit and then lands on people.
And then he goes, woo! Wait, no.
So,
Totally putting Ric Flair sound.
Yes.
I found an interesting example of this, and it's an older sighting. Happened in 1973 in Pennsylvania. A white Bigfoot-like creature was seen, and it appeared to be carrying some kind of glowing orb. And was associated also with the appearance of a silvery UFO. There's a long and highly unusual history of Bigfoot-like entities emerging from UFOs in the surrounding area. The humanoid was covered in white fur and had glowing red eyes, so it also had glowing eyes, and it appeared to be holding a large glowing luminous sphere in its hand and was 8 foot tall. This is a bizarre sight to which 2 girls in Beaver County, Pennsylvania, bore witness to at 21:30 p.m. I don't know why they had to put p.m. because it's military time on the 27th of September.
Some people just don't understand military time.
I suppose. 1973. After seeing the frightening figure, the girls bolted back into the house, and their father went out into the woods in an attempt to track down the creature. He was gone for over an hour, and when he returned, he refused to talk about what he had seen. At the same time, as he was in the woods, several nearby people claimed to see a silvery object hovering over the forest. And at one point, it apparently emitted a beam down into the woods. This unique but sadly short report was submitted by Stan Gordon of MUFON UFO Symposium in 1974. MUFON.
That's a whole episode in itself.
Yep.
Yeah. So now we've gone from glowing orbs, Bigfoot, and I mean, that's the only thing I could find of a specific report with Bigfoot and an orb. But and that's not typical of what people would describe when they talk about the glowing orbs. People will say, well, there's an example of it in Expedition Bigfoot. I don't remember which season it was. It might be season 2. And it was the first time I've seen anything remotely mainstream talk about it. Have either of you seen Expedition Bigfoot?
No.
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
Well, there's the episode where the one gentleman, Russell, has a thermal device. And he finds a large creature, which they actually sent in.
Was that the one where it was like on a cliffside?
It was on a cliffside, and it's walking, and it's clearly an upright creature that's quite large. And then all of a sudden, it gets small and orb size. Like, out of nowhere. And it's on video. And prior to that, they kept seeing lights in the woods that were unexplainable. And that's more towards what people are talking about on Sasquatch Chronicles when they're talking about the lights. Or they talk about having Bigfoot sightings, but historically always having these, on the same property, having sightings of glowing orbs, which is odd.
What if that's how he gets back to the mothership?
Yeah, I was trying to stay away from Bigfoot and aliens.
Well, this one was 8 foot tall and had white fur.
Yeah, there's different colored Bigfoots.
I've only heard of like reddish and dark brown.
I'm sure there's albino Sasquatches out there.
Yeah.
And
Which would explain the red eyes.
Carrying a laser basketball.
laser basketball, yes. It's like the 90s background. It goes with the 90s.
Yes!
Hell yeah,
I got them 90s lasers.
Hells yeah.
Yeah, you had to pay like extra. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the cool kids had it.
You brought in some random thing from your bedroom to pose with.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have
Here's
it,
my
you
Game
were...
Boy Advanced.
Exactly. Man, the 90s were awesome. We were talking about that today.
Oh, yeah.
So my wife sent me some sort of meme earlier today, and she was basically like, yeah, I remember 90s summer, and talks about all this stuff, and I was like, that is nothing like the 90s summer I had. And she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, first off, John and I would play with Star Wars action figures for hours at a time, and then we would play with fireworks and try and blow things up. And after that, we'd feed the seagulls, and our friend Ernie would throw rocks at them.
my favorite was when we would get the smoke bombs and throw them in the eaves.
And then people called the fire department.
We would wait until people were driving by, and then we'd toss a black smoke bomb into the eaves.
And they'd think that the house was on fire.
Oh, my God.
Oh, we were freaking terrorists.
When your mom had the hedgerow, we throw them in the hedges.
Yes. Oh, man. Remember when we used to just randomly jump into it after Jackass?
Yes, and we would drop M100s into the sewer.
Oh, yes.
To see how high we could get the water to shoot out of the...
That was so fun.
And it got to the point where your dad was like, all right, I'm going to give you these fireworks. Don't drop them in the sewer.
Yeah.
We forgot we did that. Thanks for the idea, Dad.
Oh, I can't believe he gave us fireworks.
They weren't even firecrackers, dude.
They were legit. He had a guy.
They were M100s.
A guy from Ohio?
No, he was somewhere in the deep south.
Oh, okay.
And he would, my dad would call him up and be like, "You got the stuff?" And we'd go to like the back of his van, and it was like a 80s or a 90s, what was it, the Ford Aerostar or whatever.
Oh.
And you'd roll up and he'd be like, "What do you want?" And we'd be like, blah, 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 blah. And he'd be like, "How much you got?" And my dad would be like, "You don't have to make this weird. We're just buying fireworks."
Right.
They put a little thing in the bottom of this can.
Do they?
Just like Guinness puts the ball in theirs.
Oh, yeah.
I
A little toggle.
That's cool.
I was just making sure that I didn't drop a nicotine pouch in there before I finished it off.
You got any more?
No. I'm sorry, I only bought 3.
God.
They came in pints.
Goodness.
I'm glad you guys liked it,
I
though.
have to bust out the Lucky Charms.
So I really got nothing on glowing orbs, like what it could possibly be, other than supernatural. I mean, we got the Paulding light up in the UP.
Yeah.
Is that the UP?
I believe so.
It's either UP or Northern Michigan. But there's this light that appears in the same spot. And they've basically determined it has something to do with atmospheric.
It's in Ontonagon.
Okay, so it's definitely in the UP. So, yeah, this light appears in the same spot. It's due to atmospheric conditions
This
up there.
little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine.
Fun fact, as I'm looking at where the Paulding light is, it is near Ironwood. Well, not near, but I seen Ironwood on the map. Mm-hmm. And I had a buddy, we would go work in Ironwood.
Yeah.
And this dude would spend his entire paycheck at the strip club there.
What?
Oh, really?
Yes. And he had a couple, not just one, a couple pregnancy scares.
Oh, my God.
Oh. How are the ladies up there?
Exactly what you would expect.
Yeah.
Was it 9927, also known as Mike?
Have you ever heard of Maselli's? I think Maselli's is up by Gladwin area.
Isn't that the place you get kicked out of for
Yeah, I got at the end of the night. Well, they were back. This was back in the 90s, and they were $5 for a can of Labatt Blue.
Jesus.
At the strip club, and these women were like 3s, 4s, maybe. At the end of the night, they all got up on the stage to dance, and this was my buddy's bachelor party, and I had a pocket full of change, and I just threw it on the stage. You're out of here! Cling, cling! I made a hail in that day. Nickels and quarters.
I made it hail.
I went to my cousin's bachelor party. We started out shooting guns, and then we found ourselves at the indoor go-kart track in Clio.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And we were the only people there. Okay?
At the
yes,
go-karts?
We were the only people there. We all paid for 5 races. We got done with race number 2, and I said, I'm going to go have a cigarette. I'll be right back. And so I start walking out, and the lady working there points at me, and she says, "You're done." And I was like, "What?" So I walked over, and I said, "What's going on?" She's like, "There's been some complaints." And I was like, "Complaints about what?" She's like, "Heavy drinking." And I'm like, "We're the only people here." And mind you, the first 2 races, I didn't crash. I didn't hit anyone. I drove really slow, but I didn't hit anyone, right? And my cousin hit the barrier so hard that the tires that they used to form it were flying. And I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I haven't been drinking." She's like, "What's your racing name?" And I was like, "Dick Trickle." She goes, "You're done."
Because of that?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, "Well, do I at least get my money back for the rest of the races?" And she's like, "No." Oh. That was the last time I went there.
That's rude.
Dick Trickle. Days of Thunder.
This is a real person.
Oh, that was Cole Trickle.
Yeah.
Days of
Dick Trickle is a real. Yes.
Yeah.
That used to be my phone background, was the Dick Trickle fan club.
Oh, whoa! We both did that.
Yeah.
Oh, the old man noise.
Old man noises. So, yeah, that's all I got for this episode. It was very information packed.
Pupillary, iris.
I used
all the eyeball stuff.
Big words.
Science,
I'm glad we did this one first.
Sciencey things.
I could say the words.
I'm a firm believer in the supernatural aspect of Sasquatch. So
I'm firm as well.
So like, you're not gonna try and science it out of me.
I'm gonna science it out of you.
You're not.
I'm gonna Fauci it out of you. It's the science, John.
You gotta trust it.
You just gotta trust the science.
Just 5 more boosters, please. Please, bro.
Remember, more kids. If the government says that they wouldn't do that, they would definitely do that.
Oh yeah.
You know, speaking of the orbs thing, maybe it's just the government LSD dosing people. There we go. There's my science.
Just remember, don't wear that government-issued bandana.
Yeah. It's the CIA. That's my go-to if I can't explain it. People are seeing it, but it's LSD. Because
it's got to be. That's pretty much everything. It's in the water.
They're putting chemicals in the water to make the frogs gay.
I'm going to be honest. I'm kind of retarded.
Oh, Alex Jones.
I was pretty impressed with my Alex Jones impersonation there for a second.
You weren't frothing at the mouth, though, so.
Make the freaking frogs gay.
Oh.
Sciencey episode, cuz.
So I guess it's never too late to transform into an orb and fly back to the mothership.
Transformers more than meets the eye.
Robots in disguise.
Robots in
Good night, guys.
Peace out.
Yes, the spirits of the old healing man.
Hit him with that fucking bowling.
Towering and yelling fame. Scotland, my mountain name, high may your proud standards gloriously wave. Land of my high endeavor, land of the shining river, land of my heart forever, Scotland the brave.